Hello, everyone, and welcome to something new, I guess. I had ideas on how to start this, and I went through a lot of things in my head on how to do so, and there's really I went over it so many times in my head that I lost where the real starting point was supposed to be, so I'm just gonna pop in to it first by saying that this is something. I already said that this is something new. Something new that I figured that I would try because I have a lot of thoughts all the time. I don't always think to talk about those thoughts to other people. Not always. Either for whatever reason, either because I'm at work and I can't stop to type it out because it's too much typing, or because I'm too tired at the end of the night, which tends to be the reason more often than not, or this, that, and the other. And this tonight I'm starting doing this idea because of all of that, and just the fact that tonight in and of itself it sure happened. It sure did happen. And so I'm not gonna go into details, but long story short, tonight was my night started at like 3 something p.m. 3 to 4 p.m. and then about an hour and a half after that something big happened, and I haven't exactly been okay, so to speak, since it was really big and bad, and then everything else happened IRL, and this is all stuff IRL. I'm not talking about the archival, in case you guys know, in case you guys from Chunkai know, I'm not talking about the archival. I'm talking about something else. Something else entirely. Things that happened IRL. While I was in the middle of, while I was finishing up the solo FPS that I was doing. That is, and before you ask, yes, that is the short story version of what happened. There's a reason my name is Babble, and it shows in things like this. I do apologize, but anyways, to make a slightly short story even shorter, a lot happened IRL, and I'm doing this to try and get my mind off of it, but also because I've been thinking about this for a while, and I figured, you know what, screw it. Let's try it. Let's try it. And I don't know how many of these I'm going to do. But if you're wondering what it is that I'm doing, basically, I have a lot of thoughts. I don't always get to write them down for whatever reason, and so I figured I'd start recording some of them. The ones that I don't get to write down, and just, babble about them. About the thoughts in my head. To which case you can thank do for this, for the name of this series, I guess. It's called Babble Rabble. That's what I'm calling it. And I think this first one is going to be the fic that I was intending to write for Yuni. That I don't think I'm going to be able to write anytime soon due to work and stress and things like that, but I still want to get it out there because Yuni is a wonderful person. And this has been on my mind, and I want it out. I want it out of my brain. And I want to give him something nice, but I can't give him a fic because writing hard at the moment, and my writing spoons are in the spur fic stuff, and just it's a lot. There's a lot. Yuni, if you're listening, I'm sorry you're putting up with this, with my brain and how it be. But just to put anything at ease, I'm not doing this because I feel like I have to. I'm doing this because I want to. You know, you're my friend and I care, and I know that I don't have to do this, but I want to. And this is the easiest way that I could get it out at the moment. And so I hand... It's not in fic format like I had initially intended it to be. But I do hand you the first Babble Rabble being for you. And it's the thing that I was talking to you about in DMs called Talk to Your Father. So, let's start this. Disclaimer, it's not exactly lighthearted. It's not, it's got Winn in it, and whatever is wrong with his magic and shit. It's basically Flamingo, his husband Flamingo, looking at him, looking at everything that's happened, and basically saying, you need to talk to your dad, damn it. Things are not okay, stop avoiding it. Basically, this is a call-out post to Winn, saying, talk to your father, you ignorant slut. And I don't know if I'll get to every single one of these characters being mentioned, but I will list verbally the characters that might be mentioned, and if they are not mentioned, then I do apologize. And if they are, hee-hoo. I hee-hoo in your general direction. First off, Flamingo and Winn are mine. I am Babble. Someone who will absolutely be mentioned but in the form of many different names, either Zan or Dad or something along those lines. He is the wonderful wizard that Yuni has. Yuni, my beloved. Marcel, Arlo, Von Vixen, that is Vamps, funky little warlock man, he who magic man, as many of you know him. Gregory, Janelope, and Henrik belong to Kraken, beloved older brother mine. Ansel King, previously known as the Antlered King. By God, I'm sorry, I can't say that without a slight smirk on my face, because every time I remember the name Ansel King, I remember Winn and Ansel's first FPS that Fable and I did, and I just continuously remember Winn not knowing Ansel's last name and just going Mr. King because that's the last thing that he remembered. and Zan taught him respect, so he panicked and called Ansel Mr. King. He's my Winn, my darling, is a dumbass. None thoughts had empty Wii music 90% of the time. The Ansel King, however, is Fable's, and we love Ansel King in this house. That is not an option. Fight me. Anyways. Thoughts, please. Ah, God. Okay. Now that that's out of the way, the actual beginning. I'm so sorry. Let me see. It has been 11 minutes and 55 seconds. I'm so sorry. Damn, I really do be babbling here. First Babble Rabble, talk to your father. For Yuni, beloved. We start this Babble Rabble off in Ghibli, in the kind of out there home that Winn and Flamingo built for their small family of 4, or not 4, 6, because there's 4 daughters and 2 of them. I can count. It's late at night, and a lot of things has happened. This takes place after House of Phil, which I haven't listened to that recording yet. I haven't had the spoons, but I know one thing, because I may or may not have enabled Jade to do that. And it's been a night. For the Pain Chimes household. Most of the lights are off, save for the kitchen light, which is... It's right next to the living room, so the light is kind of shining in the living room. And in the kitchen, Winn is just making tea. He's just making tea. Meanwhile, Pain is chilling on the couch with a passed out Marcel sleeping on his shoulder. And, Winn comes in from the kitchen. With a tray of teacups and such, and he sets one down for Marcel in case he wakes up on a coaster that has a spell to keep it warm. And he hands another one to his husband, Flamingo, who uses his free arm to take it and take a sip. And Winn is a lot of things. And I don't know where I was going with that, but anyways. He takes a seat on the arm of the sofa. And he takes a sip of his own tea. And he looks down at his, he looks down at his husband. And he asks him quietly, so not to wake the, Marcel is an adult, but to him that's still a child. To not wake the child sleeping against his husband's shoulder. Flamingo, I'm not going to ask you to tell me what happened, but I do wish to know, is he okay? And Flamingo listens to his husband. He knows. They've been together so long, be it as friends or as partners. He knows he's telling the truth when he asks that. And he looks to the side at Marcel, snoozing beside him. And he nods and explains he'll be fine. Although it might be best to give him space. Just a bit. How is your magic doing? And Winn pauses. He's gotten used to his husband asking him this almost every night. And especially every time something anxiety-inducing happens. God. It's fine for now. I have my gloves on. I'll be fine. Flamingo gives him a look in response to that. One of knowing and one of clear suspicion. When you're not going to like what I have to say. And Winn just cringes. He knows where this is going, and he doesn't want to have that conversation right now. He gets up, and he goes to walk away. Flamingo, my dear, I know what you're doing. I don't want to hear it right now. I'm not ready for this. I'm working on it. And as he's walking away, Flamingo just calls over his shoulder. Again, being as quiet as he can, given the circumstances that he's in, with Marcel on his shoulder. When we both know that's bullshit. And Winn pauses in his footsteps. He doesn't steal his expression because he's not turned around to where either one of them could see him. And then he does look back, and he looks pretty irritated. And this doesn't faze Flamingo. He continues to stare at his husband deadpan, unapologetic. I beg your pardon. I said we both know that that's bullshit. When you've been avoiding your... I don't want to hear anything about me avoiding. I'm not doing that, and you know it. No, you are. You are absolutely avoiding talking to him. You were supposed to talk to him when you took him to... that was supposed to just be for fun. I told you that. There is a sharp inhale from Flamingo. He remembers the conversation that they initially had about the tickets. Yes, it was mostly supposed to be for fun, but they were supposed to do something after that to talk about it, or before. There was supposed to be a conversation. And while admittedly Flamingo can't really fault Winn for not having that conversation before or after, because it had been a while since Winn and Zan had done something together that didn't hurt, admittedly. Since he got back, that didn't, well, bring up the magic. He couldn't really fault him for it, but at the same time, he knows Winn. He knows that he's been avoiding it. Okay, that's fair. The museum was fine. I can't really fault you for that. And I'm glad that you had fun. But, oh God, I don't want to hear the but. Come on. Flamingo, please. I told you I didn't want to have this conversation tonight. When are we gonna have this conversation, then? More importantly, when are you gonna have that conversation with your father? You have been avoiding it. Every time I've brought this up, you've spun it around. You said, I'll do it tomorrow, and then you didn't do it. You got distracted. You got caught up in something else. You forgot. And normally I would just let that slide. But Winn, it's been months. It's been, what? Almost a year? 6 months? 6 months to a year? Since you found out that he's back, you've visited enough. You've had enough time to talk to him. He's busy, going through a lot more. He doesn't need this added onto it. And what would you do if he said the same thing to you right now? About whatever he was going through, What would you do if what was coming out of your mouth came out of his, or came out of Marcel's, or came out of our daughter's, or Gregory's? would let it slide. Bullshit. Would you stop that? No. When I have known you for over 30 years. What? Actually, no, we're 40. I'm 44, you're 45. We have known each other for. Oh! No, we've known each other for over 40 years. Wait, no, I did the math wrong. Fuck. And that is actually him. He's trying to do the math. Love Flamingo to bits. He is wiser than he is smart. Meanwhile, Winn is the opposite. And eventually he gets a... We've been friends and sort of together. We've known each other for 35 years when... You have a lot of people that you need to talk to, and you're not doing it. You're avoiding it. Stop avoiding it. I can't be the only one that you've talked to. You need to talk to Zan about your magic and about everything else about him that's been bothering you since he got back. I don't know quite what you're talking about. Oh, Winn, come on. I don't know what you want me to say. Just start talking, Winn. There's a pause. There is absolutely a pause, and Winn, bless him, again, he's a dumbass. He's got a really dumb look on his face, and there's dots over his head. And then, very bluntly, he says, I still don't get it. I legitimately do not understand how I'm supposed to start that conversation. And, Flamingo just sets down his tea and rubs that hand over his face. And looks at his husband. He starts to get up, maneuvering Marcel so that he's no longer against him. And lays a blanket over him so that he doesn't get cold in the night. He walks with Winn to the kitchen so that they can continue to have this conversation. Winn, you treat it like any other conversation. You go in, you ask to talk to him, maybe sit him down for tea. And you start talking about it. Say that you need to talk to him, what it's about. And then go from there. If you need help explaining, you know Zan. You know he will help you. Don't you think he already does so much? I don't want to bother him. Well, keeping it in isn't exactly gonna help him. What do you think is going to bother him more? Think about that. And don't answer right away. I see that mouth opening. Don't. Just take a moment to think. What would bother Zan more? Him clearly seeing that you are not okay, that you are bothered by what is going on with your magic. Amongst other things. And you not talking to him about it. Or you talking about it and him helping you figure it out, because neither one of us know what the fuck to do with this. I wish I did. I've been doing my research. I come up with nothing. And I know you. There's only one person that you trust as much as Zan. And God's lover, she's not a wizard. Her cooking is wonderful, don't get me wrong. Penelope, my fucking beloved. But she's not a wizard. Her wonderful baking skills won't be able to help with this. If they did, I'm pretty sure that she probably would have already done so. And neither of us would be the wiser until, well, you got upset and didn't freeze something on accident. And Winn can't help but laugh at that, because yeah, she probably would have. And after a bit, he stops. He does think about it. He doesn't like the conclusion that he comes up with, because he knows that his husband is right, and he doesn't like it. He doesn't like it. At all. And there's a huff there. Yeah, no, there's absolutely a huff there in that realization. And a bit of a pout. And that's when Flamingo knows that he's got him. When I don't quite know why it is exactly that you're procrastinating on talking to Zan about this, but he loves you. And Flamingo puts a hand on his husband's shoulder. It's very gentle, but it's firm. And he looks at Winn, even though Winn won't look back at him. Because he knows Winn is listening. Zan loves you. So much more than he has the words for. And I think you both need to talk. I think you need to talk about this, whatever curse that your sister did to you. You need to talk about that. You do need to talk about your eye with him. I know it's been bothering you. You lied to his face that day. I know you did. I wanted it to be a fun day, okay? Yes, I get that, but he's not stupid, Winn. I know he's not. You need to talk to him about that. You need to talk to him about the eye. You need to talk to him about when you thought he died and he just suddenly came back. I know that bothers you. That would bother anybody. You both just need to talk, and I know that if you don't, the list is only going to grow and things are going to build. And you're going to be very upset with this. And some things may hurt. But even still, you need to talk to him. I hate the fact that you're right. I know you do. Why did we get married? Because you know I'm right. And I love you. I love you too. You're a pain in my ass, though. I mean, my last name is Don't finish that sentence. And Flamingo laughs while Winn semi-storms out of the kitchen, tiptoeing past Marcel towards the phone. Down the hall. Flamingo watches him do so and is very confused. And it takes him but a moment to realize what he's doing, and then he puts down the cup that he had in his hands, and he tries to stealthily run. It doesn't work, but he tries past Marcel towards the phone. And he shakes his head and his arms kind of wildly. When, no, don't call him right now. I didn't mean now. And Winn just looks back at his husband like, what, why? Why not? Winn, it is 8 p.m. in Ghibli. And Winn thinks for a moment, and then looks at his husband in even more confusion, because he doesn't understand. Wait, no, not 8 p.m. It is 1 a.m. in Ghibli. And Winn, love him to bits, does not understand why this is a problem. Until Flamingo asks him, Winn, what time is it in, God, where the fuck is Zan? Shit. Giznap? Question mark? Okay, I hope he's in Giznap, because I'm saying Giznap. Fuck. Winn, what time is it in Giznap? It is... Oh! Yeah. Oh. Oh. Yeah, no, okay, I'll call him later tomorrow. Later today at, probably mid-afternoon would probably be the best bet. When... Yep. And Winn puts down the phone and hopes that Zan did not pick up on the other line. He had already gotten done calling. God. He hopes that Zan didn't pick up. And he hangs up, puts the phone down, and just points to their room next to the phone, and he says, I'm gonna go lay down now. And Flamingo nods and says, yeah, that might be a good idea. I don't think either of us are thinking straight. And there's a snort from Winn as he's going towards their bedroom. And yes, thank you, Sparkles. Very good input. Winn says, I don't think either one of us can ever think straight. There is nothing straight about us. And Flamingo just turns around and walks back towards the living room and the kitchen to go and clean up and turn off the lights. Winn just giggles all the way into the bedroom. But as he settles into bed after getting changed into night clothes, he is thinking about all of this. And he closes his eyes and takes a deep breath. Regardless of whether or not he likes it, Flamingo is right. He has been avoiding talking to Zan about everything. And reality is that he's been avoiding it because he's just wanted to spend time with Zan, enjoy the time that they spend together. Because like Flamingo said, Winn thought he was dead during that 5 years that Zan was missing. It might have been longer. I don't remember. I think it was 5. I think it was. But... and he had been waiting for the right time, but the harsh reality is that there really isn't ever a right time. And Winn and Zan are a lot alike in the fact that they would rather know what's bothering someone that they love than so that they can help. rather than be oblivious. And watch their loved ones suffer in silence. And perhaps that can be said about every person in a family that is loving and caring. But there are situations in which usually sometimes it's better to wait. He closes his eyes, he takes a breath, and he starts mentally preparing for that conversation tomorrow. Because he fully intends to do it now. No ifs, ands, or buts about it, and when he sets his mind to something, he will do it. He is setting his mind to it today. To do it tomorrow. Or, well, when he gets out later. And so he will do it. And then there's also the fact that Flamingo will absolutely hold him to that. And remind him once midday comes around. Until he actually does it. Flamingo can be very persistent. Immovable force meet... Wait, no. Unstoppable... Fuck. Unstoppable force meet immovable object. There we go. Words. And he thinks about that just a little bit more before he falls asleep. And his last thoughts are, I love my husband. I love my father. I love my daughters. I love my sons. Sons. He has many children. He loves his family. He loves Fava. He can't deny the fact that he is falling in love with Cyril. He loves where he is. He loves who he's with. He loves the company he keeps. It's time he talked. And so he will. Thank you everybody for listening. This has been Talk to Your Father.